Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Yasser and Yasser Gulfraz, and today we will discuss our second learning outcome of managing a successful business project. In our session, we discussed globalization's impact of globalizations. Also, we discussed what is project management and impact of project management and why project management is important for any task. So today we will be focusing on learning outcome two, which is all about how to conduct small scale research by gathering information and collecting data to build useful knowledge for your project. So this stage is where your project really starts to take shape. So let's make sure you understanding how to do it well. If anyone is there, can you guys see my screen? Can you hear my voice? Please let me know if there is any issues or concerns. Individual tutorials, what you need to do. Uh, that you are moving into research here, what I expect you to have ready. First, you should have selected a company you want to study for your project. This company will be your case study, so choose one that genuinely interests you. Next, pick a business function to explore something like operations, marketing, finance, or logistics. This is where you'll focus your investigation on the theme we have been studying, globalizations. You should also be able to talk about your topic idea, even if it's not final yet. It's great if you have a tentative topic we can work on together and refine. Then start writing your aim and objectives because they will be guide your entire project. You also need to create a Gantt chart, not just for the proposal, but for your whole research project. So this chart will help you plan your time and back and track your progress. Uh, uh, the positive effects of globalization on Samsung. So this is example project titled The Positive Effects of Globalization on Samsung. So let's look at a sample topic on guide your own thinking. The aim of this research is to uh, explore the positive effects of globalizations on a major global company, Samsung. The focus will be on the operations, functions, and the project will look at how Samsung benefit culturally, economically, and ethically from operating worldwide. So along the way, the student will collect data and critically analyze whether Samsung is truly a positive example of globalization in action. Any questions so far? Objectives to explore how Samsung International Business contributes to positive economic growth, especially through foreign direct investment or FDIs, to examine how ethically responsible Samsung is when working in developing countries, to understand how Samsung respects and adopts to different cultures where it operates, to collect and evaluate data that support the idea that Samsung's role in globalization is largely positive. Next is Gantt charts. We discussed yesterday as well. Planning your project timelines. Let's here we focus on creating your Gantt chart, which is a visual project timeline and helps you organize and manage each part of your research. Your chart should show when you plan to complete key tasks, starting from your introduction all the way to your final reflection report. Uh, Here you can see what your Gantt chart must include. Start with your introduction, where you will set the stage for your topic. Add a time frame for developing your aim and objectives. Then plan your literature review, where you explore existing research. Include time to write your methodology, which explain how you will collect data. Set deadline for data collection. This might involve surveys, interviews, or reviewing documents. Allocate time for writing up your findings. Then move on to analysis and discussions, where you explain what your findings mean. Plan when you'll complete your conclusions and recommendations. Finally, uh, allow time after your main project to complete the reflection report, which is approximately 500 words summary of what you learned from the entire process. Any question, any comments on this one, literature review? Next is, hi, Keith, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, okay, good. So we discussed yesterday as well what is literature review. Uh, this part of your project is where you look at what other researchers and another authors have said about your topic. But remember, this is not just about copying what others have written. Instead, it is about reviewing their work and use it to support your own research. Research is simply a systematic way of discovering new information. It's used in every field, whether you are smashing atoms in a lab, observing human behavior in a business setting, or debating deep philosophical ideas like what is morality. So, in your case, we will stay focused on business related research, especially the effects of globalization on business functions. Any questions so far?
No
Research
question.
in business research mostly falls under the social sciences, things like how people behave, make decisions, and work within organizations. It also involves quantitative areas such as accounting, logistics, and finance. When you write a business research report like the one in this unit, you are basically doing a business project. Many authors have shared different ways to do research well. One of the best pieces of advice for student like you in this uh, case, or keep it simply silly, that's mean avoid making things more complicated than they need to be. Stay focused, be clear, and follow the basic steps we have discussed. Define your aim, objectives, and method, and build your project around those. Social science in business and business research, or social science and business, you might not realize it, uh, but social science subjects from the core business research. These includes areas like, if you see here, archaeology, economics, law, history, geography, political science, and linguistics. So in business research, we combine ideas from these fields to better understand how businesses operate and how people act within those organizations. So when you research globalizations and its effect on marketing or operations, you are actually applying social science methods to solve real business problems. Research and research products. One common mistakes uh, new researchers make is trying to include too much or making the research more complicated than necessary. That's why it is very important to keep your project tightly focused. So you must be clear about your aim, objectives, research questions, and any hypothesis if you are using them. So these are the guiding pillars of your project. When you have set them, stick to them. If you change your focus halfway through, you risk confusing your work and your analysis. Foundation of research project. Uh, Here we will look at what forms the foundation of a strong research project. At the heart of every good research project is a clear and focused aim. Your aim tells us exactly what you want to achieve by the end of your study. If your aim is a nuclear, your research may feel confusing and your results won't be meaningful. Once you have got your aim, the next step is to build objectives. Think of them as small steps that help you reach your final goals. After that, your first talk is to do a literature review, which means exploring what other researchers have already discovered. Make sure you focused on peer-reviewed sources, as these are trusted and academically accepted. Uh, then comes the research questions. This is the specific question your project tries to answer. The more focused your question is, the better your results will be. Finally, you might include a hypothesis. This is a statement you believe might be true and want to test through your research. After conducting your research, you will find out if your hypothesis is true, false, or unclear. Any questions so far, Keith?
No questions.
Research question. Uh, there is We need to understand difference between a research question and a hypothesis using a simple example. Research question could be, how many hours do university students to pass this module? And hypothesis might be, university students study for 200 hours to pass this module. So as you can see, a research question asks what, how, and why, while a hypothesis makes a guess uh, that you then test. You can use just a research question, just a hypothesis, or both in your project. Choose what fits your topic best. Primary research. This is when you collect new idea yourself, either directly or by instructing someone else to collect it for your study. Few examples: questionnaire you might heard during your studies. It's a very common in postgraduate level or bachelor level. These are forms where you ask people specific questions. They can be done face to face, over the phone, online, or even by post. Observation, you simply watch people's behavior. For example, you might observe which product customers look at in a store. Then product trial, think of free food samples in a supermarket. You give people something to try and ask for feedback. Focus groups, a small group of people come together to discuss a product or issue, uh, while the researchers notes their opinions. Then interviews, unlike questionnaires, interviews are usually more detailed and done one on one. There are three types of interviews. Unstructured interviews are like open conversations where the respondent does most of the talking. Semi-structured interview involves some guiding questions, but there's room for natural discussion. Structured interviews are very specific. You ask set questions and stop once they are answered. These are more likely spoken questionnaires. Experimentations. This is basically where you test something to see what happened. A common example is a drug trial, but in business you might test a new product feature or marketing approach. So this techniques helps you gather real focused insights from people or real world scenarios. Next is secondary research. Any question, Keith, so far?
No question.
Okay, so this is where you gather secondary research. This is where you gather data from source that already exists, uh, like books, websites, articles, or reports. So you are not collecting new data, but instead using what's already available to build your understanding. Secondary research helps you understand what's already known about your topic. It can also show your gaps in knowledge areas that haven't been explored fully. These gaps often lead to strong research questions or hypotheses. While it is not always possible to find peer reviewed sources, especially for very new events, you should try to use them whenever you can. Peer reviewed uh, articles are written by experts and checked by other experts, making them more reliable than random online blogs or unverified websites. Literature review: when you review existing literature, you are doing more than just reading articles or books. You are building the foundation of your research. Uh, Basically here, if you see what it does for you, it introduces you to the main ideas, concepts and debates in your chosen field. It helps you connect your research questions and objectives so everything stays aligned. It shows you when information is lacking, which means you can explore something new. You will Also see what methods others researchers have used, helping you decide how to design your study. Good literature review helps you avoid repeating what others have already done, and finally, it helps you develop your research plan by identifying the best tools and strategies to use. When writing your literature review, it is important to choose your source wisely. Not all information is equally reliable. Uh, Here, if you see some good places to start: books, journals, conferences, newspapers. Books, most academic books are reviewed by experts before they are published, especially from well known publishers. Be cautious with books from small or unknown publishers. Journals, academic journals are one of the best source because they are usually peer reviewed, but again, be careful with professional or commercial magazines as they might not go through this process. Conferences reports, these varies. Some are just as trustworthy as journals, while others are not. Always check how they are reviewed. Newspapers, while they are good for current events, newspaper often have bias and aim to sell stories, not always provide balanced facts. You can visit, mm, if you would like to watch, that this link, step by step guide on literature review for your further knowledge and study. Here, other forms of literature review, uh, TV and media. These sources can be biased. They often try to persuade rather than inform. Always double check facts. Internet has good and bad content. Anyone can post anything. Government sites and official reports, like HMRC, are usually safe. Avoid using blogs or random websites unless they are credible. Public records and archives. These includes things like birth or marriage records, electoral rolls, and large statistical reports. These are often reliable. Art, building, uh, and other unusual sources. These can be interesting for creative or cultural topics. Uh, Whether whatever source you choose, remember that your job as a researcher is to assess its value and reliability. Here is just showing that written critical review of the literature. Literature review is not just about reading, it's a process. So, generate keyboard, uh, think, generate keyboard, think uh, of the most important words related to your topic, define your search limited, decide what you'll include or leave out, conduct your research, use libraries, debate, Google, scholars, etc. Collect useful literature, save and organize the books, articles, and reports you find. Evaluate the material. Ask yourself: in this use is this useful? Is it reliable? And start writing. Begin, running. Turning your notes into a written draft, uh, then reviews and update. Keep reviewing as your research move forward. So, tips when writing the literature review. Here, some quick tips to make sure your literature review is effective and focused. Stay on topic. Always ask yourself, why am I reading this? How does it helps my research? Analyze and evaluate. Don't just describe uh, what others says. Think critically. In this, is this relevant? Is it credible? Assess quality. Look at the strength of the data or arguments. Ask, uh, does this research make sense? Are the results convincing? Create a reference list or debate. Keep track of every useful source. This will save your time when writing your references. So, good literature review has a clear understanding of the research problem and use a well defined research framework or paradigm. Individual research activity. Uh, any questions so far? Any concerns, questions, or anything?
Question.
So, your individual task is to find at least three peer reviewed sources that are directly connected to your research topics. These sources can include journal articles, academic books, conference proceedings, and even reports from government or regulatory organizations. So, once you have selected your three sources, don't just list them, justify your choices. In other words, explain why each article or source is important for your project. Ask yourself, how does this source support my research aim and uh, objectives? Literature review should demonstrate, uh, it is your chance to show how well you understand your topic. Strong review should be several things. First, it must show a clear link between your research objectives and research questions. The theories and idea you explore should directly support what you are trying to discover. Next, your review should include important theories from both academics and real world practitioners in your field. This shows you have looked at the topic from both an academic and practical angle. Make sure your sources are current. You don't want to base your research on outdated information. Finally, use proper referencing and citations throughout. You must credit the original authors for their work using the correct format, uh, and that using your references, for example, Harvard or APA style. Project management plan. Uh, we uh, discussed project management yesterday as well. Today we will discuss project management plan. So this is a critical part of your research proposal, and it helps you stay organized from start to finish. Plan includes several important areas. Start with scope. This defines what your project will cover and what it won't. Then consider the resources you will need, such as time, people, or tools. You will also need to estimate the cost involves, even if they are minimal. Time management is key. How long will each phase take? Your plan must include a realistic schedule. Uh, think about quality control too. How will you ensure that your research remains valid, reliable, and up to academic standards? Then potential risk. Uh, don't forget to identify risks, what could go wrong, and how you plan to deal with those challenges. And finally, your communication plan, how and when you will share progress with your tutors, stakeholders, or team members if working in a group. When defining the scope of your project, you need to cover a few elements that will keep your research focused and manageable. Uh, Budget, even if your project is small, mention any expenses such as printing, travel, or online tools, subscriptions. Then discuss the schedule and timing, be realistic about deadlines, and make sure you allow time for each stage of your work. Uh, include uh, uh, include a plan for quality assurance. This means deciding how you will make sure your data and results are accurate and trustworthy. Talk about potential risks to what if your idea collection does not go as planned. What if participants don't respond? To manage this, you'll need to explain how you'll keep stakeholders updated on your progress. This could be through regular check ins with your tutor or sharing drafts for feedbacks. Finally, it is important to have a backup plan in case things go wrong. This is called preventative or contingency planning. Project resources. Uh, Here we'll talk about resources which are essential for running any successful project. Once you have defined your project scope, your aim, your next task is to identify and secure the resources you will need. So this includes people such as your project team, any external subcontractors, and also deciding on the methods or techniques you will use to carry out the work. You may need software success to research database tools for data collections or even simple materials like printing suppliers. This is where your methodology comes in. It helps you organize how you will gather and use these resources effectively. So, as your project planning progresses, you will also begin developing a timeline, often using visual tool like Gantt charts to keep track of each task and when it should happen. This way, your team and your tutor can see clearly how the project is moving forward and what resources are needed at each stage. Project cost, one of the most sensitive and critical parts of project planning. Costs matter because many projects fail simply because they run out of budget. So, as a student researcher, your project may not involve money in the traditional business sense, but understanding how to estimate and manage cost is a valuable skill. You should plan a realistic budget, even if it is hypothetical, that include all expected expenses. This might include a software license, printing cost, participant incentives, and any travel. It is also important to plan for unexpected issues, which means having a backup plan, plan B, or even plan C. In case costs go up, be careful not to underestimate or overestimate. So if you go too low, you will run into problem halfway through. If you go too high, your proposal may look unrealistic. So keep in mind that trying too hard to cut cost can sometimes affect the quality of your work. Always balance cost with value. Any question?
No question.
Uh, Time management, uh, if factor uh, many consider to be the most valuable resource in any project, unlike money or materials. You can't get back time once it is lost. That's why it is essential to manage your time carefully. If you miss a deadline or delay any small task, it could affect the entire project and its outcomes. So, poor time management can lead to increased cost, rushed work, or incomplete results. So, every team member involved in a project, whether it is just you or a group, need to be aware of the timeline and follow it strictly. Tools like Gantt chart or PERT, uh, project evaluation and review techniques, can help you track each task and make sure everything is progressing on schedule. A well managed timeline shows you are taking your work seriously and gives you the best chance at success. How time management, here we will look at uh, uh, how time management is applied step by step in a project. First, you need to define the tasks that need to be done. Break larger tasks into smaller, more manageable parts. This helps you stay organized and focused. Next, sequence these tasks properly. Figure out which ones need to be done first and which ones depend on earlier steps. This will help you avoid bottlenecks where everything gets struck because one piece of work is delayed. Then make sure you estimate the amount of time and resources needed for each task. This means knowing how long something will take and what tools or help you need to complete it. After that, build a schedule that allows for potential problems. Don't make it too tight. Leave some space to adjust if things don't go as planned. And finally, when everything is completed, review your work and make sure it meets your original goals before signing it off as done. Quality, many people think quality simply means completing your project goals, but it is actually much more than that. Quality can be described in different ways, such as continuous improvement, zero defects, fit for purpose, or even achieving industry standards like uh, uh, ISO 9000. However, at the core of every definition is one main idea: delivering value to stakeholders. In your case, your main stakeholders might be your tutor or the organization you are studying. Achieving quality means doing every part of your project with care and attention to detail. From your literature review to your analysis and final conclusions, the quality level should match the aim and goals you set at the beginning. If your aim was to explore the positive impact of globalization, that then your findings and presentations should clearly reflect that. Always remember, a well managed project is not just completed, it is completed well. Key parts of quality, if your first is customer satisfaction. If your stakeholder, whether it's your tutor or organization or the team in your research are not satisfied with the end results, with no matter how hard your work, the project will not be considered successful. So, this usually happens when we fail to clearly understand or meet the needs of those we are delivering the project. Sorry, project to. So, always make sure that expectations are known and met. The second key component is continuous improvement. Great project managers and researchers always look for ways to learn from their mistakes and avoid repeating them. Techniques like TQM or total quality management and Six Sigma are used in many organizations to build a culture of ongoing improvement. Lastly, preventative action to prevent unnecessary inspection. Uh, uh, Preventative action is better than fixing things after they go wrong. So by doing things correctly the first time, such as providing training, doing inspections, or setting high standards, you save time, money, and your reputation. So don't wait until something fails. Plan ahead to prevent errors or any mistakes. Communication project can only be successful if the right information reaches the right people at the right time. You will need to communicate both internally within your team or to your tutor and externally to other stakeholders. So that includes giving clear instructions, sharing updates, and being able to listen and respond when someone raises concerns. It is also important to make sure communication flows both ways, not just top down from project leads, but also upwards from team members who may have valuable insights or notice problems early. So, basically, a solid communications plan avoid confusion, delays, and mistakes. So, if your project requires meeting, briefing, or even online sessions like Zoom or Skype, plan for them for the beginning, include time, cost, and logistics in your project proposal. Risk, finally, we will talk about risk. Every project carries some level of risk, whether it is unexpected delays, resource issues, or new development that affect your original plan. So that's why having a risk management strategy is essential. While tools like PERT, project evaluation, and review techniques help, they can't replace a complete plan for how you will identify and handle risks. So, how can you manage risk well? First, build risk awareness into your overall project planning from the start. Don't wait for problems to happen. Secondly, try to spot risk early and include backup plan or safeguards in your schedule. Even though not every risk can be predicted, planning for flexibility helps. Third, make sure everyone involved in your project can speak up if they notice something risky. This means encouraging two-way communications, not just instructions from the top, but also ideas and warning from all levels. And lastly, remember not all risks are bad. Some risks may lead to unexpected opportunities, such as finding better data, new perspectives, or alternative methods that make your project even stronger. So, the key is to be prepared and stay alert throughout the process or your project. That's it for today. Here are some references for your further reading. Any questions, concerns, or any issues, Keith?
No questions for
Okay,
now.
Keith, thank you very much for joining me this morning, and I'll see you next Wednesday for our third session. By then, if you have any questions or issues, you can drop me an email at yasir@ukversity.co.uk. Thanks, Key, and I'll see you next week, Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. Thanks and bye for now.
Okay, bye.